This space is amazing.
You love it?
Can you please tell me more?
Well, what do you want to know? This is where all the magic happens.
I mean, obviously this is where the magic happens, but I
Yes.
think as we were sharing, as we were getting set up, like
Mhm.
this is not at all what I'm used to.
Mm.
So this is like, I think for those interested in doing this work
Yeah.
and being in the creative space, and in particular the podcast space,
Mhm.
this is lowering the barrier. So, right? So
Yeah,
you don't
it's
have to do
really
anything.
legit.
This fantastic chair was here.
Yes.
This mic was here. I
Yes.
look so good because of these lights.
Yes.
This is not what I normally look. I look right. But no, tell me about this space.
And I think, like, you know, that's why we wanted to keep the logo up, because that's what Philly Podcast Space is about.
I agree.
They create a space where you can just come, you can just show up, and you can just focus on creating.
That's exactly what it feels like.
Yeah, and that's the vibe that they create. And so that's why I'm excited that you're here, because I know we've been talking and communicating for a year to make this happen. And, you know, we're in the thick of it when it comes to my research. And so I just thought, like, I'm really excited that Matthew is finally coming. Like, this is, I mean, I need to spend more time here, but this is like my second home. Like, this is where I feel like I can be myself. This is where I feel like I can just literally just let it all out, like be as transparent, as vulnerable as possible. And it's my journal. Like this space is my journal. Yeah, it is. It's my journal.
We're just starting, and now you're saying these things that are making my brain pop. Okay, so tell me. So I'm Matthew.
Yes,
you're Diamond.
I am.
We're working together. This is my role in this is to support you.
Yes,
and make you be as successful as possible. But what are we doing here? Why are we here?
Okay. So for people who do not know, I am in school right now. I am earning my doctorate. I am a doctoral candidate.
Yep.
I'm trying to practice saying that.
Yep.
I'm a doctoral candidate, and I'm studying the influence and the impact media podcasting, hybrid audio visual, have on Black and brown creatives. And we're here because Matthew allowed me to be bold, to be myself, and I'm gonna try not to get emotional, and believed in me, and saw the vision, even when I didn't possibly like see it being possible. And so, like, through all of our conversations, all of our meetings, all of our planning and everything of that nature, we are finally here doing the research process of it, like literally trying to see what podcast would look like if effectively integrated into higher education. And so I'm excited. I'm grateful, even grateful for Philly Podcast Space for allowing me to utilize the space to do it.
Yeah, for having me.
Like because it was conversations that we had like a year ago as well, when I brought the idea to them. And so it's just a blessing to have people around you say yes to your vision, yes to what it is you're trying to do. And so that's why we're here.
Okay, beautiful. Before I ask you,
yes,
because I love the connection with this is my diary, or this is my journal.
Yeah.
This is also our researcher notes, right? This is chronicling in the transparent way what this research is and what I say we. When I say we, I mean I'm supporting, but what you're doing.
Yes.
So tell for those who have no idea, and then I'll do a little blurb because mine's not long. But what's your connection to podcasting, to this space? Like, you didn't just start this yesterday or this morning.
No,
you've been doing this for a little bit.
Yes. So for people who may not know, I've always been in the media industry, media entertainment. I started off at being a baby at the New Freedom Theater, right off of Broad Street, and it was one of the first Black theaters, and by Johnny Allen Jr. And since a baby, my mom just always had me in the spotlight, acting, dancing, performing, production, all types of things. And then when I got to college, I really had to figure out what I wanted to do. It was so interesting because I told one of my family members that I wanted to do dance. I wanted to do theater, and she was like, "You're not gonna make no money. Don't do that. Like, you better not do that. Rest her soul." But so I listened, and then I was just okay, fine. Like, let me do social work. Let me think of this. And so I went in that direction. And then when I finally went to Bloomsburg, I met a friend of mine's, and she was actually doing radio. And she reintroduced me to my love for it because I just couldn't, like, I wanted to go to the studio with her. It felt like something was missing. And so I
helped you reconnect.
So I got reintroduced back into it. And then she started interning at a radio station here in Philly. And she was like, I want you to come, I want you to be a part. And so I went on a couple episodes, and they absolutely loved me. They loved the energy.
Of course.
And then COVID happened. And so I was like, well, what can I do now? So I started producing my own radio show, my own talk show. But it was only audio at the time. Okay. But I kept promising my audience that one day we'll be face to face. Like, I promise you, one day we'll be face to face. And I was still producing, the conversations and everything of that nature. And then as the years progressed, I came across like Philly Podcast Space on Instagram through their promo. And during that time, I was working on a project as well. And so, yeah, I visited the space, and I just knew it was going to be home for me. And so I think we've been locked in for over like 3 years now. And so, yeah, like this is where it's at. This is where it happens.
Is this part of how you see yourself as an adult creative? Like, yes. Is this what helps?
Yeah, like, absolutely. So I love being in these spaces. I love seeing me in these spaces. I think it's a big part of who I am. It's never a time where, like, even coming in, like I had made a connection, exchanged Instagrams with someone. And I'm definitely going to ask if they need a model. Definitely going to ask if they need a model. But I'm always in my zone of connecting and creating with other creators. And so just being in that space of creativity, it just helps me just be more comfortable with accepting who I am, because I'm constantly trying to figure out how can I evolve, how can I create, what's next. And I'm a visionary, so I'm always trying to stay connected to vision.
I think we have that in common too.
Yeah. All right, tell me about yours.
The visionary.
I want to know.
So we've spoken about this before in the connection with creatives and being creative, that I think my first, so I've always been a listener.
Yeah.
I love listening to podcasts.
Yeah.
And I think the first connection to actually stepping into the creator role, the producer role, was having conversations with colleagues and realizing the behind the scenes conversation that we were having would actually be very interesting to others.
Yes.
Right? In the same sort of conversation, or what we're doing now, that it's not just what shows up in a class, as an example, but it's all the work that happened either before or after.
Yes.
So that's what I mean by, like, it's this is so fantastic of a space. We had to get our own mics.
Yep.
We had to, we were setting up recording equipment in our offices with the horrible floor and the horrible sound quality, right? We enjoyed it so much. We had our students do some assignments where they made their own podcasts, and they had, it was interesting. It was a new way to think about editing and writing and literacy. And I do believe that is true. Like, that literacy is not just reading on the page. It's what we do here and this. And then through COVID, where I really would say, like, I sort of got my sea legs, is because we had to be locked up.
Yeah.
And so we kept doing a little bit of podcasting work. And then I don't know, do you remember this? I did a lot of audio recording of readings.
No, I didn't know. Yes.
For a lot of the EDD classes and their readings. I know, because remember all the feedback we were getting was people were spending too much time on screens.
Yes.
So that is honestly where I learned I'm talking like it. This is a thing. It's where I learned how to work with a microphone. Yes. I learned how to edit. I learned how to do the whole production process, mixing, all that stuff.
Yes.
I don't think I really knew how to do that until I got to that space. And then I first sort of had a rekindling. Then I sort of fell back on. I haven't done a lot in that space. Yeah. But then I'll be honest. We were at a faculty meeting, and this fantastic student came up in our conversation named Diamond, who had done a podcast assignment. And everybody went, Matthew, you've done some work with podcasting. So then when it came time for getting everyone aligned with their dissertation advisors and getting people's research, it was like, it wasn't just me saying, "Oh, I want to do this." There were other of my other colleagues who were like, "You should really."
Yeah.
Right.
And I'm happy you chose me. And the interesting thing about it is when we talk about being creatives, like I feel one thing that I want us to practice more of and to encourage people to do is to take the leap and actually do it. Because even for the assignment, it was literally like when she said an interview.
Which class was that for?
It was for Orchida's it was something about...
Was it methods?
No, it wasn't methods. It was something about something with higher education. I don't really remember, but we would talk about critical race theory.
Okay.
And it was around this time last year. So whatever class did she teach around this time last year, or maybe if it wasn't this time last year, it was the year before that. I don't know.
I liked that you took the leap.
Yeah, I did. And because when she said interview, my mind automatically went to production. Yes. But when we later talked, she was like, Diamond, you literally could have just used your phone. But I literally was just like, oh, I thought actual like interview. And so it's so funny because the very first episode was for her class. Like when I actually launched my talk show, it was for her class, and it was it was the very, very first episode recorded here. Yes. Period. Yeah. For her class, and that was the very first episode. And so I've allowed her to use it to whatever capacity y'all want to use it to. It doesn't matter to me. But yeah, that's how we got here for that assignment. And I didn't know that I was thinking big. I just thought I was just being myself, being a creative. And so I just took the leap and was like, let's just make it happen. And it just turned out that she loved it. And she actually was like, let's meet because I think you can tie this into your dissertation. I think you can do this for your dissertation. And I'm like, really? Yeah. And she was like, yes. And I was like,
need to give her a shout out.
Yeah, shout out to you. I appreciate you, Orchida. Like
Orchida Mahajri.
Yes, like yes, Dr.
Mahajri. Yes. She's fantastic.
She really is. She really is. And so I just appreciate her. Like her, you, and everybody else who just really accepted like me. Because I'm be completely honest, I tell Matthew all the time, sometimes I don't really feel...
I was gonna say you didn't see yourself or did not feel, I don't want to say it that way, it wasn't not seeing comfortable, but like not seeing yourself.
Yeah, I didn't see how it was going to work.
How you were going to fit.
Yeah, I didn't see how I could intertwine my love and passion for X, Y, and Z and just make it work. I didn't see how. But when you have people like, and that's why I'm grateful for like having people that I call vessels, that sometimes they see things in you that you may not see in yourself. And so I'm grateful that y'all seen the potential. Y'all like, that y'all seen it, y'all liked it, y'all enjoyed it, because there's so many people.
I see it.
Yeah,
I see it. I do.
I see it.
I do. I'm not kidding. I really do.
And I appreciate it. Especially when, and this came up like in the conversation yesterday, like especially when you're used to being in spaces where you don't feel seen, you don't feel heard, you don't feel appreciated, you feel overlooked, you feel marginalized. And so it's like when you're in spaces and that's not happening, it's like the amount of support is a beautiful, positive, like overwhelming feeling that you get, and it makes you want to leap further. That's why I really hope that whoever is watching this that's interested in going through the process, rather it's their master's, their doctorate or whatever the case may be, that they just believe that, there will be people in your life who will help you take that leap and support you. Like even in spaces where you may not think it'll happen, it will be somebody. It will be somebody for sure.
Let's take that. Let's pull it back from a different angle.
Okay.
To situate it for everybody.
Okay.
And I can speak to it a little bit, and then I think you can pick it up.
Okay.
It's that, so in traditional higher education, scholarship research, like you just listed, master's thesis, like the dissertation for the doctorate.
Mm-hmm.
There's the stereotype. There's an understanding that it's, well, number one, it's a solo. You're doing it by yourself.
Yeah.
Right. You're sitting alone by yourself, and it's typing or writing and lots of reading.
Mm-hmm.
And that is surely the dominant way to do it. But it's not the only way to do it.
Right.
Number one. Number two, think of who are honestly going to, on the other side of this, I say this with love, and there's seven other of you doing your dissertations right now, 6 other of you doing your dissertations. I promise some people will read them. But like, right, where people are working really hard on writing these book length studies, and who's going to read them, right? So I'll give my own little shout out to the CPED, the Carnegie Project folks, who are our program is a member of this group, and we had a conference. It was actually here in Philly. I know, back in October back in the fall, and I went to a couple of presentations because it was not only faculty who were using podcasts in their class. To like help discussions. Like, I think I mentioned this to you, like they were doing discussion forums, but then also podcasting in the dissertation space. This was like the stars aligning because you and I have been talking about this.
Yeah.
I think it's just, I like you were saying, for those people watching, that this is so meta, right? That what we're doing, that we're talking about it, but that this is a research. This is research in like the lowercase r, the big uppercase R. That, and other people, the thing that people should understand is, yes, we look fantastic in this space.
Yes.
But that there's a lot of going on behind the scenes also in your head, because you've got your researcher hat on. It's transparent, but you're also interacting and working in this space as a researcher. But that, like, we're going to be sharing what you do in this format. So think of how many more people are going to get to see what it looks like to do research, and not just research like,
the traditional,
but doing it this way. Do you know what I mean?
And that's what I love. Like that's what I want it to be. That's what I want it to be.
That's what I hope it. That's right. That's what I hope so too. Like, I want people. Again, I said this to you. Imagine a future diamond stumbles onto this and goes, you know what? I could do my graduate degree, and I could do it in this format. Maybe not studying podcasting like you are, but I could do it in this format.
Yes.
It's so much more accessible. That's the...
And I think that's where, like, I honestly think, like, higher education, we just need to just be more receptive to what the people want and what they need.
This is what you were saying. I think you're right.
Yeah. And so, because I love reading. I love writing. But after this experience, and
probably
then
need a break.
And even like doing it for work, I needed it to be fun. I needed it to be different, and I needed it to. I didn't want to. I heard so many people that went through this process say, like, after I didn't want to touch my I didn't want to, I didn't want that.
Yeah,
I want to, and sometimes we don't want to read all the time. Sometimes we do want to hear the audible books. Right?
Yes, and this is literacy. Literacy is so broader than just what we assume it to be.
Yeah.
As like the reading by yourself, and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So to that end, can we take a leap, which I love that connection. Can we leap into talking about what this project is?
Absolutely.
A bit more. So this is your research project for your dissertation.
Yes.
What are you... Give us the like 10,000 foot view. What is this about? What's the big question? What's your wondering?
Okay. So, like, what I'm trying to figure out, like what I'm trying to answer.
Yeah.
It's layered. So ultimately, I want to see, and I want to find out if there is an opportunity for podcasting to be integrated into higher education in a way where it's transforming learning spaces from the traditional way of learning to a more creative way of learning. I'm trying to see how many creatives are actually in higher education, professionals or scholars, and I want them to feel embraced. I want them to feel heard. I want them to be showcased. And I think that podcasting is a platform to do so. So I'm just trying to figure out the influence it could possibly have on individuals, the influence it could have on the collegiate realm as well, like that landscape. But also seeing what it will look like in the future, like how it could transform individuals' experiences in the future. And if in fact, if I think sometimes people don't go to college because they don't see it being a place for them. And I think if we showcase more creatives like myself, like you, on camera, in these spaces being heard, I think it'll create some level of connection where people could say, I can do that. I connect with that.
I see myself.
Right? And then that may help us get more numbers like in the educational landscape.
So this is also an argument for like retention.
Yes, absolutely. And then, just to see how we can just bridge these gaps, because there's a lot of gaps in higher education. There's a lot of gaps in society. And so one thing about me, I just think outside of like love, I think being creative, it allows people to come together safely when they can be themselves. Vulnerable. Absolutely. And I think that's what podcasting does. Like it allows people to just literally, even though we have our shoes on, we can kick our shoes off. We can sit down. We can be on the same like playing field, right? There's no space for I'm better than you, and like we're all here, like we're all, and that's what I love about sitting down for podcasts, is like we're all equal at that point.
So heard, got it, love it. Who are you thinking of talking to? So the obviously the podcasting is going to be part of the medium,
yes,
right? Of how you collect data. And then analyze the data from that. But who are you thinking about talking to help you understand this better? Because it's not just everybody,
right? Like my participants.
Yeah, who are you aiming at to participants wise?
Black and brown creatives, people who identify as being Black or brown, and identify themselves as being the creatives. And even in that, there are some people who may not even know that they're creative, or may not see themselves as a creative. And so, though, like, they're my target audience, but also, even though they're not participants, I really want this to be for individuals who run the dominant narrative, and just don't do a great job with highlighting the positive and the innovativeness of Black and brown creatives. I think sometimes I'll give an example. I have like friends who are incarcerated. I have family who are incarcerated. And one thing about the prison system is you don't really get to see how creative or dope these individuals are until they're sending you something. I had someone create a teddy bear out of towels and washcloths. I've had people create these beautiful cards and artwork, and it's so much, like, it's so many gems, and it's just unfortunate that, they're in those situations. But, in a space where you're just surrounded by walls and around cages and all this other things, you have nothing but creativity to save your life. And so that's why I think I'm so connected to it. So it's not just for the Black and brown creators, it's also for the people who run the dominant narratives, to say, like, it's a lot of things that people can alter, but your creativity is something that you hold dear, and it's really a part of who you are.
No, gotcha.
All right, so that was the first episode. We went over the 5 minutes, didn't we?
But vibes wise,